some tips. Most common mistake, assuming people know what they're working toward. Why should I create a future? But really, why can't I just tell them go do it? Well, because it actually gets people moving toward things. People actually do want to contribute. They actually do want to participate. They actually do want to have a sense of making a difference. They do want to have the difference be of value. There's a whole bunch of work now that's coming out from positive psychology, positive organizational change, which indicates that positive has not only well-being effects on individuals, but it has profound effects on the performance of organizations. And it's all a forward kind of orientation. So we want people moving towards something to the extent that we can. That doesn't mean that every single change you introduce must be this positive forward thing. There are disasters and crises and things that have to be dealt with, and you got to deal with it accordingly. Get all necessary authorities aligned. The ones that you know of at the time. Have you talked to them? The students that just did the organization change class, they would come up with these ideas and then they'd say, okay, but who have you talked to? Well, nobody. Well, you need to go talk to people. And surprisingly, some of them wouldn't go do that. And these are people like you all in your organization wanting to make an implementation. They weren't going to go talk to those guys. Plan for resources and don't over-initiate, see things through. That's kind of a lower level caveat. If you're somebody who generates tons and tons of ideas, you'll want to follow through some of those. In my family, I'm one of those guys that's this generator of lots of new ideas, and my wife is somebody that's called a completer. She wants to complete all those ideas. So when we go for a walk around the neighborhood, I have to tell her, I say, look, I'm just going to tell you a whole bunch of stuff. We're not going to complete any of it. We're not doing any of it. You don't have to worry about any of it, because she would hear all these ideas and think, how are we going to do that? You've got all this other stuff to do. And she's a management consultant in the area of organization change and stuff, and she knows all this, but we're two entirely different orientations.
Initiative conversations disappear, so they have to be repeated frequently or people will forget them.
So one of the things about conversations is conversations disappear very quickly. And initiative conversations, if you take what John Kotter says about the 0.58% of a vision that gets spoken into an organization.
John Kotter is a change management guru and author of the book Leading Change, in which he makes reference to the amount of communication given to an initiative relative to the total amount of communication that occurs in an organization.
And 99.5% of all other communication is about something else. This is literally a grain of sand on the Sahara Desert kind of thing. It's not going to get noticed. And if it's not spoken over and 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 over, it will die. And people will forget. Which means that you'll want to speak an initiative conversation, particularly as we'll look in a few minutes, an initiative statement. You've got to constantly remind people, particularly at the beginning of a change. You've got to remind them a lot about what we're up to and why it matters.